what I always do, I've got this, which a friend bought me about 20 years ago. It's the Digitech guitar processor, and it's actually got a drum machine in it, a very very basic drum machine, which you can, it's got like preset drum beats, and you can make it go far, make the drum beat go faster or slower. So what I do is I kind of like once I've got an idea, I want to record it. The first thing I want to record is a drum beat, so I can keep time to it. So I got the drum beat off that, and then I just, unfortunately, listening back to it, I just went mad with this. I kind of I just used everything I could on here, like flanges and.
So a lot of the Pilots tunes are done on that, right?
The drum beats are. But Wake Up City was basically what I did was I kind of had the tune already. And so I got the drum beat, I recorded the tune on top of that. And I think I kind of like, I didn't really know about spacing and stuff like that. So I just did the verse for as long as I thought it would need to be. I made the first verse a bit longer, so we had a bit of an intro, and then there was a chorus, then we had another verse, chorus, and then there was a middle 8 bit. Then it goes back into the verse, I think, and just kind of the end. So basically, I got all that kind of recorded, like a basic guitar track, and then for some reason the lead guitar track I did with a massive kind of like, I think it's like an auto wah or flanger. It's wow 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 all the way through. Wow wow, just that noise all the way through.
I remember that on one of our tunes.
And which is a really good sound if you use it. If you use it kind of like quite, less is more kind of thing.
Do we have that on Andromeda? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think that was because Andromeda was the first song I recorded on the Tascam 8-track that I bought back then, and I think this was the second one. And then I remember if you listen to the beginning of Wake Up City, the first thing that comes in is a kind of like wow 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 wow. It kind of like just kind of pedal tone, they call it, just like a couple of notes that go with the music, and I just played it all the way through as a kind of, I don't know what it was. I remember being very drunk when I recorded that, and thinking it sounded, probably why there's so many kind of strange sounds on it. And that went in, and I just kind of the way I record all of our stuff is I get a basic guitar track down and try and get that as a good guitar track that can be used in a recording. Then I just layer on top of that. I just layer guitar sounds on top of that, and it's basically, it's throwing sounds at a wall, and if it sticks, it's in. If it's not, I'd usually record stuff and then come back to it the next morning and play it back with a fresh pair of ears. And then there's usually stuff I'll take out and stuff I'll leave in. Sometimes I might take half of something out, thinking, oh, that bit sounds good. The rest of it sounds rubbish. And then I'll just keep chiseling away at it. But I remember Wake Up City, it's got this horrible like jerkiness to it. It's got a good jerkiness, but just really, I just did it too much. And I remember, to try and compensate that, I was borrowing my brother's bass guitar at the time, and I tried to do this smooth. If you listen carefully, there's a smooth bass line on top, like a smooth, very kind of not jagged at all, just kind of like that, to try and even out a bit, which it does a little bit. But I mean, the first song I recorded on that was Believers, which was our first song we wrote together, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember I got the Tascam because I remember you replied to the advert I put out for a singer, and I said, oh, I've got these demos. I had no demos. And you kept hassling me every week for, when am I getting this demo? I'm just still working on it. I'll get it to you. And you're really persistent. So I thought, I'm going to have to make one. So I bought an early version.
I can't remember being persistent. That's not me.
I bought an early version of this. This is from 2012. It's like a Tascam 8-track.
Yeah, I remember that.
which I still use now. And the one I bought when we met was like the previous version of this, which is like same kind of thing, just but a lot bigger, just a massive thing. And I remember with Believers, again, got the drum track off this. I think I'd worked out again the basic tune that I play live when we play live, that kind of the chords. And then I just lay it on top of that. If you listen to the demo, it's got like a bass line, sort of do bass line, and then I've got loads of sounds going in and out and stuff like I've got an Ebo sound going.
Yeah.
So
And was it
you know,
which device would you have said was the most easiest to work with?
what, on that track or just generally?
Generally, yeah, because
I
it's
don't
the
know. Kind
whole.
of like the easiest things are kind of things like delays and things like that. If you get the delay right with the timing of the drum track, you can make all sorts of nice kind of things happen.
Yeah.
Tremolos are really good. Tremolos are where it kind of like tremolo. The most famous tremolo sound is on the beginning of "How Soon Is Now" by the Smiths. So so basically, the tremolo pedal just cuts the sound very quickly, and I use that on a lot of stuff because it just makes it sound really dynamic, kind of energy, exciting.
Yeah. Which one
Yeah.
are you using now then? The one you just showed the audience.
That's just no, that's just a general. It's probably about
The Tascam, I mean.
the Tascam, the digital recorder.
Yeah. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
the one
That's
using
the
the
8-track. Yeah, that I've been using
Yeah.
that. I think I got it 2012, so it's quite old, but it does the job.
Yeah. Still
And
serving you
so yeah, so I basically I think the way I work, I just get a basic tune, and invariably, what I think will be, okay, this is the tune, sounds okay, and then invariably I'll just pile loads of stuff on it, layer loads of stuff on it. Sometimes I'll go in with like an acoustic track. I think that's a nice acoustic track, but by the end, it's not an acoustic track. It's got a bit of acoustic in it, but I've just kind of layered so much stuff it's kind of unrecognizable.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I work, really. I kind of have a basic idea, get a drum track to time it with, and then just play around with it, add stuff to it, add different sounds, and see what works, see what doesn't work. And the best thing is when you get like a tune, and you get like you got one bit you think that sounds okay, need something else, and then suddenly, a lot of it is by luck. I just mucking around on top of it, and suddenly, wow, those two chords work together.
Yeah.
That's one of the best bits. It just two things work together perfectly, and what you thought was a good bit before was suddenly like, sounds amazing anyway.
Yeah. And then would you say what you've been through of a day also affects the mood of what you play? Because
Yeah. I mean, you kind of, even stuff like,
when it comes from nowhere, you don't really know, but
yeah, you just
more
muck
often than not.
around, and it can just be even the simplest thing. Like I record a lot sitting down, but sometimes I might stand up, and that can suddenly get you a bit more free form, and a bit more kind of, and that's when you get the bits that don't necessarily are perfectly in time, but they've just got something about them. Um, it's attitude over kind of.
I know you said. Sorry.
What's that? Sorry, Carol.
One thing I was thinking about from earlier, because you mentioned the drinking days.
Yeah.
Since not drinking, would you say your sounds sound different, or on any level? Just have you felt how was the sort of journey into playing sober and then realizing, wow, this is actually
Well, I
different.
remember one night in particular, just after we met, actually, I was at my old flat, and I spent all night recording this track. And as I was recording it, I was drinking lots of red wine, and I remember thinking, this is amazing. Spent like literally about 6 hours till about 4 or 5 in the morning, and just passed out. Got up later that day. I listened to it, and it was awful. There was nothing coherently usable out of it. Whereas at the time, I thought, oh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. But then you know, on the flip side of that, I remember we've got a track called Rainbow Seasons. And I remember recording that sober, obviously. And I started recording it about 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday night. I remember it's the night of the terrorist attacks in London on the bridge by the market, by the thingy market. So that was on TV. And anyway, I spent till about 4 or 5 in the morning just recording bits and bobs sober. And then again, I went to bed sober, obviously, and got up and listened to it. And I thought, this sounds, again, there was some stuff that came out, but a majority of it stayed. And that's kind of the main difference. I think is just like quality control, you know, the kind of, if you haven't got a filter on there because you're drunk, then you know.
Not made in a drunken haze.
No, exactly. So it's a bit. So it's more kind of yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how so many different ideas can come of that, because you know it's like we can't dispute all the times where we have written some corkers. You know, when we've been in those states, right? Devon being no exception, because you know we put away quite a few glasses of wine and then go back, or we'd go and.
Well, this is the thing with Devon. I remember we were going. When I used to come down to Devon and see you, it was kind of like when I came down. First of all, it was like, you know, we drank, but we would get down and straight away, you know, I'd get down there, I don't know. It's either in on the Friday evening late, and then on the Saturday we'd get up and have breakfast and then go and do some music. Or if I got down on Saturday, we'd immediately. But I remember the more, for me anyway, the more I came down to Devon, the later the music would start. You know, we weren't seeing much daylight.
True. A lot of faffing around.
Weren't seeing much daylight, and again, it was kind of we lost a lot of time because drink, you know. And but dub country, you know, go back to that Rainbow Season, that started out as a drum track. I took the drum track completely out. So what I did was I just got this bass line. I wanted to do this kind of like just do this bass line, just like 3 notes or something like that all the way through. So I recorded that for about 6 minutes, did the timing guitar track, which is that ding, ding, ding guitar track, and then took the drums out and just layered it on top of that. And it was one of those things where I had no idea at all about what I was, you know, recording, or just literally made it up as I went along.
There's that really interesting sound, which sounds a bit industrial. There's that it's like a sort of hammery sound.
That's the guitar. That's the guitar bit. The ding. Like someone's hitting like a Depeche Mode somewhere. Someone's hitting someone with a hammer. Yeah, I mean that was just a guitar note, one guitar note. Jing. I spent ages going jing, jing.
Wow, jing, what do you know?
Through the whole recording, and it sounded okay because it's the right note to play, but also it kept a time. You know.
Yeah. So it was almost. So it wasn't on delay or anything.
No. It's just it had like reverb on it to give it a bit of air. But yeah, it's just it's just a jing, jing. No, I played that literally like that for 5 minutes, and then so I had the bass, and then I had that. I think I took the drums out then, and then I was just layering tremolos on top of that, and a lot of that was done through that guitar process I just showed you. Yeah, it's just.
And you've been through a few guitars in your past, haven't you?
I have. Most recently, I have.
Yeah. Favorite? Yeah.
Well, I got the
favorite to work with. Or do you have one?
The Telecaster I used for all of our stuff was the only one I had, you know, until 2014. I got into photography, and I'd bought that nice Gibson guitar then, the red one, and I got into photography. I needed to buy a laptop, so I reluctantly sold the Telecaster to buy the laptop. And then there's the interesting story. About 2 years later, I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind buying that back, because I always regretted it. And I was trying to remember the guy I sold it to on Gumtree, and I spent a morning just trying to research him and trying to remember his band name. And you know, I remember his band played at the Astoria on the same day of the Soho bombings, because he said it was our biggest moment, our worst moment, because it was our biggest gig, but no one came because of the bombings. So I looked up all the tour dates at the Astoria, and some weren't there, and his wasn't there. Anyway, 2 hours. I gave up, went out of coffee, came back. Thought I was going to buy one off Gumtree. True story. Went on Gumtree, just put in Telecaster. The first one that came up, not even in the list. The first one that came up was the one I'd sold to that guy. I just couldn't believe it. I could tell by the scratches and the bits that are missing off it from dropping it and stuff. And
what are the chances? I know.
Exactly. So the universe kind of brought that back. So I've always, I'm never going to set. My brother actually tried to buy that off me recently, and I sort of said no, you can borrow it as long as you like, but it kind of got sentimental reasons.
That's a piece of history.
I mean, it's a big. I bought that in 2002, so it's been through a few bands, it's been through a few flats, a few relationships. You know, all our stuff was done on it, and then yeah, since then I kind of I've had probably half a dozen guitars. I've got my most recent acquisition. It's rather nice Gibson.
That's gorgeous.
It's a 2016 335, but it's one of these ones that's called, it's a Voz, which is like vintage original spec. So it's basically been built to be like a Gibson from 1961. Or 63. So
yeah. Which one are you bringing on Sunday?
So it'll be that one. It's a really good guitar. It's not as easy to play as the Telecaster, but
how's your finger, by the way?
Yeah, kind of get in there. This is the thing, kind of.
What did you do?
I was attempting to play quite complicated jazz chords. You know, I'm not a jazz guitarist, but I thought I'd try and learn some advanced jazz chords, which means a lot of extended chords, which means you kind of use your little finger to extend. And I think what I did was I was doing it so much, it was just like repetitive strain injury. It's not too bad. It's still a bit achy. And that's what happens when you get to my age. You know, it's that kind of, you know, if I was doing that when I was 20, then I'd probably be okay. But
who said, I was watching a guitarist the other day, and there was apparently a technique they'd learned. Oh my god, who was it from?
Famous.
But basically, he got the he had some sort of carpal tunnel syndrome. So
yeah.
Then he got lifted up, and there's the way he basically positioned his body. It suddenly just went, just dispersed by this guy just doing a couple of moves, and you know.
Wasn't a bass player, was he? I think that's quite common with bass players.
Look it up.
But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of at my most, which was only a few months ago, I had 5 guitars. So I had 2 Telecasters, Fender Stratocaster, 2 Epiphone Casinos. So to afford that one, I've had to sell one of the Telecasters. I sold a casino, and I've got my other casino that I'm trying to sell to pay for that one. That's quite a lot of money. It's second hand as well, but it's a beast of a guitar. Yeah, I mean, it's a proper, you know, it's a proper.
It looks the business.
It looks great. And that's great. It's kind of, but that's the thing. Kind of, they're just inspiring. You know, it's an inspiring guitar. You just look at it, you think, you know, you look fantastic. Let me pick you up and try and play
every time, exactly. And when you do the gigs, and you know, you always notice when you've brought a different guitar along.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this thing. I've had this kind of imposter syndrome going on with, because it's such a great guitar and it looks great, and it's a Gibson. You know, I've had a Gibson. I had that cherry one before. You know, about 10 years ago. That was a Gibson. And I had another 335 beginning of the year, which is kind of just a normal bog standard 335 from about 2 years ago. Completely different to that 335, just completely different. The sound different, feel different.
Yeah. How often do you have to, you know, give it a service?
I kind of like think, you know, I was kind of thinking, am I good enough to be playing this guitar? You know.
Oh, Andy.
And it's kind of like, but then I kind of like thought, you know,
I mean,
I kind of think I am in my own kind of way. I think the problem is I've been getting into kind of like new or neo soul stuff recently, and guitar stuff especially. And there's one video I watched on YouTube, and it's literally an hour long. I just thought it was recorded music, but it's like loads of neo soul guitarists from Instagram wedged together in like a compilation.
Oh, right. Oh, wow. And maybe that's what's given you the
they're absolutely amazing. I'm thinking, oh my God, you know, I've got nothing. I'm nowhere near them in technique. But then I think, you know, attitude. Mark Collis, I remember Mark Collis from Talk Talk.
Yeah.
And he was saying, because Talk Talk used to be this kind of Duran Duran synth band when they first started, but that was just to get them signed and get some money. And once they made their money, then they recorded what they wanted to. And a lot of that was kind of just experimental drums and guitar and that, completely different, completely timeless. But I remember Mark Hollis, kind of leader of Talk Talk, used to say, you know, it's attitude over technique. You know, you can play one note and it can sound amazing compared to, like, you know, 30 seconds of a guy shredding or whatever. And I've always thought that. I kind of, you know, some people are good technical guitarists and some people aren't as good, but they kind of quite creative. And I like to think I'm in that bracket.
Got a nice balance.
So I mean, I can play the guitar, but I saw these guys on YouTube and I thought, oh my God, you know. So anyway, I've been getting into a bit of that neo soul stuff, which is quite pretty nice actually.
That's awesome.
Some of that stuff.
Have you recorded anything?
So that sort of neo soul R&B, which I never thought I would learn. There's a guy on YouTube called The Bearded Guitarist. He's like an Asian dude, and I subscribe to his channel. He's got these nice little snippets of, you know, 15 seconds of neo soul stuff, like three chords, 4 chords, jazz chords. He plays them in a way that sound brilliant, like that R&B kind of, you know.
It's been loads on Tiny Desk, hasn't there? Just new artists. It's just like, wow, there's just so much talent out there.
But yeah, no, it's just so yeah, I've been having this kind of like, oh, am I worthy of this guitar? But
well, that's the thing. It's a real mindset thing, isn't it? Because you just got to talk yourself out of that.
But it's kind of like the sound of it is great, and it's our sound. It's our kind of like jazzy, warm sound. You know.
I've definitely been thinking we could do something on those lines for sure, because we have had a similar sound for quite a while now, and even though we haven't, obviously trying to get this EP done, do we introduce some new things that are different and just have 3 different tunes?
I mean, I've been working on. I started writing this kind of jazzy song actually. I mean, blatantly jazz chords, a little bit predictable, but it sounds nice. So I'm trying to kind of work on that a little bit. And
again, what makes a good song? You know, I think everything we've done has just been so organic and kind of very just.
I think it is our kind of stuff. Our kind of stuff, I think, is live. I think ours is kind of definitely kind of less is more. You know, just kind of, and I think, you know, I'm not blowing our own trumpet or anything like that, but I think that's a sign of a really good song. You know, if you just got a guitarist and a vocalist, you know, and the guitarist isn't all over the place, but it still sounds, you know, still holds its own up there, and you get good. I think that's a sign of a really good kind of song. You know, you don't have to like play 27 chords to make it sound good. You know.
No, not at all.
So I'm hoping that's kind of that's how we are anyway. So.
Where would you see it developing in terms of, you know, 5 years' time? We're still doing this.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a bit tricky at the moment due to distance and stuff. But yeah, no, I'm always still going to be writing songs and throwing them to you. Your meeting will end in 10 minutes.
So yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to try and get this EP done by the end of next year. That's quite a feat. But again, it's just honing it into the best tunes that we think.
And I think the thing is as well for the live set, especially, is to keep putting in new songs, to keep it kind of fresh. Like the songs we're playing on Sunday, we've got a couple of buses and cycles are in there, aren't they?
Yeah.
Weirdly, both transport related.
We haven't got any trains.
Yeah. But they sound good, and they kind of like, and they got buses, and then you got one of our old, Believers, our first song we ever wrote. Then you got Cycles, which we wrote last year, end of last year, I think it was. So you got really new and really old, and then after that's Robin Hood, which is like just a little bit older than. And then
actually, I'm just really enjoying going back into the vaults and obviously putting out a few things.
Yeah, this is why I think Wake Up City will be a good one. It's got it's got a really good energy to it, definitely.
And actually, it reminds me of Alive. It's got that similar kind of. It's got a bit of a rocky edge and it's got some,
Yeah, it's a bit. I think.
But still got the sort of pop element.
Yeah, I think Wake Up City is a bit kind of like. It's a bit kind of acousticy. It's kind of acousticy, straight. It's a bit more straight than Alive.
And then when you were saying about it's it's going to be too messy if we put too much stuff in there, which I already have.
Yeah, I mean
so it's a balancing act, isn't it? It's getting enough of us.
But it's like you played about our song Journeys earlier, which I'd love to do live. I think I'm certain we played it live once.
In the right setting, yeah.
It's quite. I mean, I'll have to really relearn that song because it's quite a complicated song.
Yeah,
for me.
Very picky. Yeah.
It's just kind of bits all over the place and harmonics, and that'd be really good. Well, I think that's kind of definitely doesn't need anything more kind of adding to it.
It's just nice messing around, really. I just had a few spare 10 minutes. I started it, and I was like, "Oh, actually, I quite like this."
Yeah.
Chugging beats.
Well, what I might do is I might send you just loads of sounds, guitar sounds, or little bits of guitar. Yeah. And then you can mash them up, and copy and paste and all that kind of stuff, and see how that kind of sounds. Maybe, don't know. It might work. Something a bit different for us. There's plenty of stuff we've got we can work on.
Yeah, I guess I really wanted to also bring in a sort of element of how is this song making you feel? And maybe invite people to even talk about their journey with a song. You know what I mean? Because right now we don't really talk to people about that. We don't really know. They'll just say, "Oh, that's nice." You know what I mean? But actually, to go in depth and say, "Well, how did that song? What did you think about when you heard those lyrics?"
Well, you could do that. Yeah, we could do that as a clip on Instagram, because we always get a few comments on Instagram, sort of generic, kind of like sounds great or whatever. So it'd be nice, if we sort of like post the clip as a kind of like, what does this clip invoke? In your head, how does it make you feel? What vibes it giving you, kind of thing. That'd be a good idea.
And then eventually, I don't know if we are going into a bit more of a podcast type arena, which I'd really enjoy, actually, because if this is quite easy doing it on Zoom, and potentially we've got our free airwave, which is for Instagram, I guess. But I know you can only put a 90-second thing on there. Can we not do a longer? How do we upload longer sessions or have a link to podcast?
Yeah,
that's the one idea. But I know it's all a bit ambitious at the moment. I just think
it's
really nice. It's great.
I think that'd be a good thing, to get people to react to our stuff. I think.
And possibly do a pilot sub Blue Radio, cabradio.com.
What would that involve?
Well, just playing our favourite tracks from yesteryear.
Well, our stuff, just our stuff, yeah.
Yeah, no, I meant our favourite tunes or just stuff.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like the DJ set.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah,
obviously we've thought about doing that afterwards.
Definitely up for that.
Yeah,
we did that around your place once, didn't we, years ago, where we had like a Saturday night, me, you, and a couple of other people. There was like a virtual jukebox or something where we take it in turns to put a track on.
Yeah, YouTube mixing hour.
YouTube mix, yeah.
Yeah, well, anything's possible, I guess. You know, it's just a nice little start, isn't it? To see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
What sort of reception? So actually, it's quite fun. You could probably even do the whole. Look, this is for TikTok influencer kind of shit. Yeah. You know, where you slice up all the videos and you put it all together.
Yeah.
Got a compilation of the best bits of pilots talk about.
Oh yeah, best bits of pilots 2024. That kind of stuff.
How to end the year with a bang.
Yeah.
Banging tune.
Be nice.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, it's just nice to be able to keep doing what we're doing, and obviously doing the odd gig here and there.
Yeah.
Keep
on absolutely. Yeah, because we got one on Sunday, and then there's 1-2 weeks after that in Camden.
Yeah, so actually, even just doing little open mics are quite as important as any other paid gig, really, because you know it's.
Yeah, I mean, we get like a free meal at the Camden one, which is.
Where's the venue? I need to know that.
I can't remember. I'll have to. I think I WhatsApp the details tonight. I think.
There's a few more questions I had. Can I FaceTime you after just quickly before we wrap up?
Yeah, or do you want me to host another session? Let me do that. I'll get 45 minutes.
Yeah, I should do. Don't see why not. I mean, if we don't want to record anymore, then we could just go normal.
Oh no, we'll try recording and see if we can record again. Yeah.
No, yeah, actually, see if it's played it and saved it.
Yeah. Don't know where it. Got 2 minutes left. 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah. Because where does it? You know, is there a place where?
I don't know where it goes to. Have to. As long as you don't have to upgrade to be able to watch it.
God dang it!
Damn it. No.
Everything is just.
Well, shall I stop recording and then try and send you another link?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Radio.
Bye.
Bye.